All right, howdy y'all in good time zone. Welcome back to another episode of The Humans of Twitch, a podcast showcasing the diverse backgrounds of individuals who have found enjoyment and community through online gaming. I'm your host, Environat, and this week we're doing a special Valentine's Day related episode where my fiance slash husband, we will get into that sort of thing, as well as, if you're seeing this, I am slapping him right now. He will be joining me in person to share our love story and how we met on Twitch. And we will wrap things up by sharing our thoughts of using Twitch as a dating site, or rather, not using it as a dating site. Anyway, howdy Vegetable.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be the most chaotic of the guests that I have.
You got a Biku coming up.
Yeah, and you're going to be more chaotic.
Okay.
But yeah, howdy y'all, and alright, Vegetable or Gary, do you want to give us a little introduction of yourself?
Yes. So my name is Gary, and then on the internet, at least on Twitch, I go by VeggiePunch. I've been on Twitch for quite some time. I think I had originally a Justin TV account that got transitioned over to Twitch, kind of dropped off near the beginning of college, came back to it near the end. Throughout grad school, used Twitch just basically as a tool for background noise while I worked on other stuff. Still do that today in much capacity.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What type of streams would you tend to watch?
So very beginning, it was a lot of Super Smash Brothers content.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I kind of stopped watching Super Smash Brothers content around I guess I started watching more speedrunning stuff in 2017 because that was my first summer. GDQ was the first one that I watched.
Yeah.
I guess live, and then I slowly stopped. After 2020, I stopped watching Super Smash Brothers because there was a big controversy in the Melee community, basically involving a lot of just overlooked sexual abuse. And so I was like,
misogyny.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really want to watch this anymore. Yeah. And so now I just mostly watch speedrunning content and also Nintendo games, and then also a lot of Sonic speedrunning stuff.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So would you say with the Justin TV account, would you have been around since say 2012-ish?
Roughly, I think so. I do
in high school.
Well, I do have a 2011, was it 2011 Twitch recap?
Whoa,
or something like that.
That's wild.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
This is my email. Never shall be deleted. But yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, by comparison, I know I've never done an introduction, actually, at least myself back, so I guess this is a good time to do it. So yeah, my username being Environat. I also went by NatNat1016 back in 2019 when I first created my Twitch account, and similarly got it just to have some background noise while I was working, and just for having in a background and cleaning, because I was going through kind of a phase where I couldn't really handle watching a lot of shows with a lot of emotional sort of stuff. So realized I had a lot of childhood nostalgia for Zelda games and Wind Waker, and somehow on YouTube stumbled on speedruns that were mind-blowing to me.
It was Linkus first, right?
It was Linkus, yeah. Yeah, I stumbled on his former world record, 100% world record. Yeah, and it was very mind-blowing to see a lot of these tricks being done.
First thing, Super Swim. It's just...
Yeah, the Super Swim, and it was Wind Waker HD where they do the item slide as well. So I was just like, what is going on right now? Yeah. And yeah, I saw in his bio, in the description, that he streams on Twitch, and clicked on it, and he happened to be live doing more runs, and was like, oh cool, maybe I could, and Linkus is Swedish, and I realized maybe this would be a cool way to maybe learn something about Swedish culture. I don't know, he's
not the best person to learn Swedish culture about.
He's very he's very Americanized, but I thought it'd just be cool to watch a speedrunner who was Swedish, and yeah, and had that nostalgia, and I wasn't being made sad. So yeah, and I guess with the content I would watch before I got into streaming, I watched a lot of Wind Waker as well as other Zelda games, speedruns as well as maybe some first playthroughs. Although it's I don't know how many first plays. I like the first playthroughs I would watch would be of friends I had already made or like people I'd already kind of started to like know. Otherwise, other Nintendo content, I loved Luigi Mansion. So like Fire Dragon was doing some of those. Um, yeah, Twilight Princess speedruns with Delighted. Um, and yeah, kind of just got in there. And in the middle of 2020 was whenever I kind of got the idea to start streaming with some friends that were doing it and thought it would be fun to um, kind of join in with my IRL friends who were just doing it. And they like maybe would average 3 to 5 people, but like it was just super fun to like spend an evening where we were remote anyway. So it was just like cool to hang out with them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I just so happened to have also made friends online already at that point. Like I had already become friends with Nina and like was a big part of like Sunday or See Sunday 95's chat and stuff. I was a moderator there and kind of just that's where my first like community I started feeling a part of, as well as Delighted's, I would say. That's where I met Ian actually.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
And then that's how the whole story started.
I know, we were actually nice to each other at the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One thing that's really interesting is that I say, you know, I think the streamer I watch the most outside of you now, I guess like overall time was probably like Talon.
Yeah.
And
Talon 2461.
Yes, and he does a lot of, you know, he does Sonic Adventure 2, and I mentioned earlier that I watch, you know, Sonic like speedruns, but it's weird is that I don't actually think I play that many Sonic games.
Yeah.
And like I played the Game Boy games. I think I played the first one. I played the advanced games, but and also the one where you turn into a werewolf, Unleashed. And other than that, I don't think I've played that many Sonic games. The reason why I like to watch them is because they're pretty broken.
Yeah,
so it's just
you can do some pretty cool stuff.
Well, like compared to like Mario, where there is a lot of broken bits in there, there's a lot of just solid platforming, like 64. But Sonic, there's a lot of platforming, but there's also just like a lot of just broken parts.
And super like cool movements as well.
Yeah, well, like
some of the racing levels, at least.
Yeah, like at least in Sonic Adventure 2, there's a lot of wobbling to like increase your speed, and then also there's like many points where you're flying and you don't even know where you're, like you can't see where you're going. You see nothing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's just mind blowing. So yeah.
So in last week's episode, I unknowingly lied about your username origin story. Can you set the record straight?
So first of all, you cannot unknowingly lie about something that you very much lied purposely knowing. And
I did not.
Last week in Mart's episode, you said that my username was generated by a username generation program, right?
Yeah.
That's wrong. My password was. And I'll give you a link to that program later.
He will not. He's a troll.
My username, actually analogous to Mart's, came from a MMO, but not as good as WoW. It was actually RuneScape. And so RuneScape was the first place I used VeggiePunch. I think it was 2006, 2007-ish. And I did it because I thought it was a stupid joke about, fruit punch. So I was like, oh, well, no one ever makes, what do you call a V8? You call it a veggie punch.
Yeah.
And so that's the origin of that. And so, yeah, it has nothing to do with random. I'm much more creative in real life than some program. Trust me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the actual origin.
Thank you for. I don't know why I thought it was random username generated.
Yeah.
But I feel like Olaf's is. Maybe now I'm wrong about his as well.
Olaf's is. Let me set the record straight. I may be unknowingly lying about Olaf's username.
Or purposely lying about it.
But I'm pretty sure Blueberry Onions is randomly generated.
That's what okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully I got 1 out of 2 right. And not 0 out of 2.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we are engaged.
Married.
We will get into the timeline here. So, Yeah, shall we give a brief timeline of how we met and ended up here today?
Sure. So you got to remember throughout all this that Nat's a creep,
Oh my
and
gosh.
and she, uh, stalks,
No,
doxes. Oh wait,
that's you.
and yeah. So I guess okay. So we met in Leanne's channel,
Yeah.
right? But the way we get there is different between each other. You were there first,
I was
so
yeah, I was a regular in Leanne's at that point. Very rarely missed a stream, was there most of the time. Just loved hanging out in Leanne's and also just having her in the background while I did stuff and studied and all those things.
and how did you meet Leanne's stream?
Not Ian, as he would like to
Don't
no.
knowingly lie about how.
Okay, I ended up in Leanne's. My memory of it is July 2020, I think I followed. I had seen her in many communities like Fire Dragon, Demons, Delighteds. But so I knew her, but I didn't realize she streamed really until later on. I think I was recommended her like and she was doing Wind Waker at the time. But it took me a little bit to follow, or like maybe I followed, but I wasn't like I was lurking a good bit and like wasn't too keyed in. But Ian was a regular there, um, and this was when the Among Us craze was happening, and I had played a few games with other people, including Ian, and then I was just like kind of hooked, and I wanted to play more. But Among Us requires many people to play, and they Leanne's community in Discord ended up being like a pretty. Also were into Among Us, so Ian was like, "Hey, you should join her Discord and like play more games there." And like Ian almost never joined us for games after that, but I started playing
He's a sleepy
games.
old man.
He is, yes. Also, you were peeking the mic. And yeah, so I kind of became a regular there. I got to know all the people there, and I guess the rest is history. So in some ways, yeah, that's how I got. I knew Leanne before Ian,
Yeah.
but Ian did encourage me to become more like involved there to like play more games and stuff. So yeah, thanks, Ian.
Yeah, so at least the way I got into Leanne's channel was also through, I guess not through Ian, but through Talon. And at this point, Talon was doing a pretty hard push on learning SM64, Sunshine, and Galaxy for the, I think it's like the 1268 or 612. It's the speed run where you beat all the Galaxy games in 64 and Sunshine with all the stars or shines or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Leanne was learning, I think, 16 star, and Talon decided, and she was also doing her partner push.
Yeah.
So Talon, he likes to, like, he's been around for a while. He likes to like help out small streamers when he can, and especially ones that he likes or finds as a friend. And so he would raid Leanne's channel. I think maybe at least once a week. And so I ended up in Leanne's channel, had fun chatting there, and yeah, I think we met probably about 2 or 3 weeks as I was in Leanne's channel.
Really?
Yeah, so you were at the time studying Chinese, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, you can go into details about that, but you had basically a break from like you had classes in the morning and then you had classes in the evening.
Yeah.
Because the time zone difference. And Leanne's streaming time is typically midday for Central Time US.
Or at least back then that was her
Back then
schedule,
it was, yeah. And so like 11 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah, so it would be kind of perfect where I get out of class,
Go do a workout.
yeah, go work out, and then come back, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, I can lurk in Leanne's while I start doing homework.
Exactly.
Or, like, prep for the evening classes.
Exactly. And so you would be more lurking than I was at the time. But how we actually ended up meeting on there was basically, I think Nina said something about running at some point.
Really?
And then I confused your username with her username. And I started directly chatting to you about running as if you never ran before, which is hilarious because one, Nat is a very accomplished runner, ran collegiately, and two, Holly came across as being very mansplaining. And so
Nina's also run marathons, by the way.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I am an endurance runner. That's what I do for exercise and fitness. And yeah, just started chatting with Nat, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, probably am, that we kind of like I guess like kicked it off because similar age, ambitions towards education. At the time, I was pursuing my PhD in aerospace engineering.
Yeah, and I'd already applied for PhDs, and so I was like starting to hear back from them, and I think by the time we met, like I'd already gotten an acceptance from Wisconsin anyway.
Well, it was a big worry for me at the time because like it was a oh yeah, we could meet and hang out if you went to Wisconsin, but you also got accepted to UC Irvine in California,
Yeah.
which would have been like impossible, right? Because I was
Technically, I was on a wait list for that, but yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
but I was at the time it was during the pandemic. I was in Tennessee with my folks in Nashville, and I was also in Michigan doing my PhD. So yeah, that's how we met, and we started just DMing a lot offline, and a lot of just conversations happening from there for months.
Yeah, it was very relaxed because I haven't mentioned this on a podcast yet, but I am demisexual, which for me means I don't flirt with people. Like I very much like I have to get to know someone's personality really well in order to kind of start feeling any sort of like romantic or whatever sexual attraction, like both capacities. Like, so I am not one to, even though like we had a lot in common, it wasn't like butterflies immediately. It was just like, okay, cool, that's a cool person. And that's how pretty much all my relationships have been. Is like I've been friends with them for months before maybe admitting like, oh, maybe I do have something there. But anyway, yeah, so the first time I DM'd you was about a GoPro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just bought a GoPro and you were showing, like, just mentioning it. I was like, oh, that's really sick. Like, that'd be cool to, like, think about. Oh, yeah.
There's the GoPro.
Yeah. And that was it. But then we just never stopped DMing. So
yeah,
just kind of kept the conversation flowing.
She wasn't one to sneak into my DMs like a creep, a stalker.
Cool. Thank you. I love how I also said, "Can we give a brief timeline?"
I was thinking that too. This wasn't so brief, and we still did not end up here today.
Yeah, let me get to.
Am I peeking the mic again?
Let me do it. Yeah. So January-ish, 2021. Yes. January-ish, 2021. That's whenever we were first interacting. I knew he was a runner. And I started seeing him in different chats. Like I also would sometimes go into talents as well. And like also Joe Ash was
Joe Ash is fun. Joe Ash is the evening stream.
Yeah, and that would be fun to pop into and stuff. And so yeah, we just kind of started interacting there. You eventually ended up in my streams, and yeah, I think the first like actual DM I sent you was end of May.
No, it was earlier than that.
No, it was into May.
That was like mid-May.
Like May 22nd.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And yeah. From there, yeah, then we kind of started just chit-chatting, and I think early July, like
paragraphs of messages.
Yeah, it became paragraphs and messages really quickly. And also like talking very serious stuff. Like we talked very quickly about like the type of relationship we were looking for. But without it being like without it being like about like us having feelings. It was just like, oh yeah, like do you see yourself wanting kids and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I think also part of it was that it had been the not anniversary, but like passage, I guess the annual passage of when the previous relationship ended.
Yeah.
Dramatically, or at least or was it the anniversary? My bad. Yeah, because it ended in January, right? Yeah, so it was the anniversary. It was your previous anniversary, which was a relationship that ended dramatically, and so I think that's how the topic came up
Maybe, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe because
just to
I think
have
we
like.
also I would mention like, oh, I'm having a rough day or
Hmm.
something, and so then you started checking in on me, and likewise you would mention you were having a rough day
Hmm.
with family stuff, and so check in on you, and then yeah, like, and then like just would end up confiding in each other pretty quickly,
Hmm.
and yeah, just talk about very serious stuff. But yeah, and then yeah, like July 1st or something like that, we find like I actually made the first move where I was like, I'm pretty sure I have a crush on this person. And felt fairly confident you also felt the same way.
Hmm.
Um,
I
he,
mentioned hiking in Grand Rapids.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
decided to be bold and be like, all right, yeah, that sounds like a date.
You were like texting Leanne, going like,
I told
"I'm gonna
Leanne,
do it."
yeah, I was like, all right, I made a move, and she's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
And I was at the gym, very specifically remembering this.
I think that was the day I threw a snot rag at a kid.
Wow, we don't have time to go
It's a
into
story for another day.
that. And yeah, so
Unknowingly threw a snot rag at a kid.
a few weeks later, it was before the end of a month. Yeah, like July 16th. I guess
Yes,
2 weeks later.
it was no, it was exactly July 16th.
Yeah, no. So yeah, 2 weeks later,
Yeah,
basically, we decided to meet up. I flew to Georgia.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they call it Hot Atlanta, because it's very warm.
Okay. And we went hiking for a weekend. And yeah, it was really fun, and we
Yeah.
kind of made things official from there. We were intending on things being where he would go back to Michigan, I would move to Wisconsin, and we would maybe start like meeting up every couple weeks, but he ended up helping me move all the way from Texas to Wisconsin and kind of just sort of stayed.
She stole the keys from my car, so I had no way of leaving, and also I lost my wallet, like coincidentally.
He did not do any of those things. He's lying. But it just felt kind of organic. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't an issue at all. Like he kept being like, am I here too long?"
I
I'm
felt
like,
very guilty about it actually.
I know you did.
Yeah,
And I was just like, no, it's cool. Like it was really helpful, and like
yeah,
it was like, and I was in a one bedroom just to like initially just thinking like, okay, like I have some savings here, and like until I make some friends, and then I can have a roommate next year to save more money. But so he effectively became my roommate. um, and yeah, then in I remember our 1 year anniversary in 2022 in July, we that was kind of like the first time we were just like, no, like I'm pretty certain like we want to
yeah,
move forward with things.
yeah. We
It was pretty cute.
went to Milwaukee,
Yeah.
sat next to the river.
Yeah, and just
Yeah,
kind of started talking about it, and he was just like, when can I propose? And so it was very, very cute.
it was very nice. Yes.
And yeah, so June 2023, he proposed, and it was very cute.
June 18th, 2023.
Yes. And then our wedding we planned for is still
May
May
25th,
2024.
5/25/24. I really like the numbers.
Yeah.
Yep.
But as we mentioned, we're actually already married because my grandpa, who was the first family
I was
member
gonna say
he
that.
met,
Hmm.
he was pretty sick at the time. Though he was kind of stable whenever we got engaged, but we had already talked
How long
about.
before? Like I think on the July 16th, 2022, we talked about it.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, sorry. You jumped the gun, I think, a little bit there.
I did.
Yes. But yeah, we talked about long before that if something were to happen to my grandfather, we would love to kind of have a rapid ceremony in order to include him, and that we both were comfortable with this.
And it's
If
fairly
anything, it was almost your like you brought it up to me more than I brought it up to
well.
you.
I knew that it was very important for you that he was going to be the person to walk you down the aisle
With my dad, yeah.
with your dad,
Yeah.
and yeah, like the I guess the position was that he had an indeterminate amount of time left.
He was already
But it was
102
yes, but it was
and had cancer.
yeah, and it was declining for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, got married July 27th.
Yeah. Cause yeah, early July was when things started heading south kind of quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, rapidly went to Texas, talked with him about it, and basically made a ceremony happen in like 10 days or
I think it
something.
was shorter than that. I think it was like 5 days. think my parents flew out like 5 days after we decided to do it, and
I think
then
it was a week, but yeah, it was
yeah,
it was very quick.
very
Yeah,
quick.
because I mean, we were worried that like something was gonna happen, and thankfully he was completely there.
Hmm.
He was very present. But yeah, health just declining very rapidly, bedbound and everything. But he managed to do enough PT to get into a wheelchair
Hmm.
for the ceremony, and we got the same officiant and photographer that we're having for May, and it was just gorgeous. Really grateful. One of my bridesmaids, like the only bridesmaid and the only person in the entire like wedding party who was in town, like
Yeah,
she really stepped up and was just like, all right, let's do all this. So
she was like the honorary flower girl.
yeah, she like walked
Her
Olivia a good bit.
her cousin brought the cake.
No, her sister.
Her sister brought the cake.
Yeah,
or
her
made the
sister.
cake.
It was really sweet. Yeah, she was like, my sister makes cake for the family, so tell us what flavor you want and she'll make it for us.
It was damn good.
Yeah, it was
damn
strawberry
good.
cheesecake.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just really special. So
it has 4 things I love.
yeah, and his family flew
Strawberry,
in
cheese, and
to.
cake.
Yeah, it was just really sweet. So yeah, but we decided to make it official anyway, just because it was like, all right, maybe taxes will get better.
I mean, yeah, we did get the marriage license.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a benefit on the taxes this year.
Yeah, but we still kept the same. Like we're still having the big party in May with more people.
Yeah, suck on that, Uncle Sam.
Okay. Okay, well that's really the brief.
Very briefly.
Someone is like, I hate it when podcasts do the podcast creep, and here we are. Anyway, we did get into a lot of the questions that I had arranged for us. But what was your first impression of me, and like, what is your actual first memory of like me besides, I guess, thinking I was Nina?
First impression of you digitally or physically?
Both. Digitally first.
Digitally, creep.
Shut
Physically,
up.
stinky. Sorry. Digitally, yeah, I thought you were pretty cool. Like we had very similar interests, we had very similar values. That you're funny. So yeah, and then physically, you were a very warm person. Realistically, and also
I do actually run very warm.
Yeah, and also metaphorically.
Thank you.
But yeah, so that's also your smile in real life is very, very nice. Yeah. So
for me, for you, I actually remember Talon rating you, and I was active in chat. I don't know if it was the
this
first
is back when I was fake streaming. You're doing rated me or rated Leanne?
No, he rated Leanne.
Oh, you said rated you.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
like, I never got a Talon.
No, like Talon rating Leanne,
Yeah.
and I remember you popping in, and then was just like I don't know, mentioned running right away. And like I was just like, hey, I run too, so
It was wintertime. I was probably getting ready to go run.
probably.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, cool, that person. And then like I think you also mentioned your PhD. He's very quick to share details about himself, so I was just like, oh, cool. And realized that we were about the same age too, which was, I mean, we're literally a month apart. So
I share very doxing details about myself. I
very quickly.
I very rarely talk about my education. I feel like I don't know.
I mean, you just mentioned that you had work, and I was just like, oh, what do you do? And you're like,
yeah.
oh, graduate work. So
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah. So how do you think you ended up in my stream?
I think it was going to be a Joash stream that got canceled. And then I was like, oh, I think I popped into your stream, saw a couple clips, and then I saw you had 299 followers.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Bam, 300.
Yeah, no, it was funny. I think we were both watching Joash, and I mentioned like, oh yeah, I went away or something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and then
but
I saw...
not trying to be self-promoting. Like, it was just like
Yeah.
a fun thing, because
And
like
then-
I'm pretty good buds with Joash.
Yeah, and I have a general rule with myself is that if I follow somebody, I'll try to pop into at least one stream. And you were playing Wind Waker at the time, and I think this was your actual first playthrough.
At least like a playthrough on stream.
Exactly. And this is when you're in like the Deku area.
Okay.
And this is when Makar is missing.
Yeah.
And I made a joke on there where they're like, Makar's missing, and then I typed in there, dude, where's Makar? Which is a 2000s, I guess, sex comedy, really bad movie.
What?
No, it's not a sex comedy. It's not like American Pie, but it's like a stoner. It's a stoner
Okay.
comedy. It's a stoner comedy, and yeah, like dude, where's my car? And you didn't get it at all.
No, I just probably knew to ignore it and keep going.
It's a bad movie.
Also, the joke was pretty bad.
I mean, that was great.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's how I
Yeah,
ended
here
up.
we are.
That's how I ended up in your stream.
Yeah. So, when did you start developing a crush on me, you think?
Uh, probably, probably like within like a couple weeks of us DMing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of just got like giddy, getting responses from you and responding back. There was a period of time where I just like didn't.
Yeah, he did ghost me for a week. That was fun.
I completely forgot. Like, oh, not completely forgot. I
Oh, he
no,
always
no.
said I was completely
I
forgetting.
didn't completely forget. That's just my excuse for everything else. I opened up the DMs. I didn't see any response, and so I thought you ghosted me. I just didn't like. I was like, okay. Like after a day, I kept on checking. Like I don't see anything here. I was just being monka dumb, and I guess I must have like already read it and had scrolled up or something, and then so I just didn't see it. And a week later, I saw it. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was funny.
Like,
To be fair, I was just like,
no.
all right, whatever. And it's funny too because I think you still went to my streams and stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's like very awkward, very awkward ghosting. But yeah, no.
It was chill. I mean, I didn't think that. I didn't think that much of it.
Yeah,
it was just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But yeah. What was going through your head though in those 2 or so months of us DMing?
yeah. I was just very anticipating your responses and responding back and getting to know you. And yeah, no, it was like a very good time.
Yeah.
There was like a lot of stuff going on, like family wise.
Yeah.
I had like I was helping my mom recover still from a pretty bad car accident. There were some health issues, COVID stuff we were afraid of. So it was like a good like little bit of like sunshine that.
Yeah. How did you feel about me breaking the ice for kind of like being like, hey, sounds like a date?
I was like sick.
I think we both set it up in a way that like if it didn't work out, like if like
we could back out.
Yeah, we set it up in a way that was just like, oh yeah, no, I mean like, haha, yeah.
It was really like an alley oop.
Yeah.
Like I set it up, and you came in, dunked it.
Yeah, and then
I was
like
you want to go hike? You're like, sounds like a date.
And then you're like, yeah, great.
Yeah, we were ready to just, you know.
Yeah, we both were ready to back up if necessary.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. But you weren't on Twitch to date, right?
Never. Like I said, I literally only use Twitch to keep up with some friends, and then also to essentially have background noise as I work, because I can't listen to music because I would get like too interested into the music. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I can't listen to podcasts because I actually want to like follow along.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's hard to work and follow along to a podcast at the same time. Like I just can't do that. So Twitch is fine because like I can actively choose to go in for 5 minutes, get back out, go in for 10, get back out. And you know the music and the random sound effects is like
it's very repetitive.
Yeah, so. It's very repetitive, and it's also like inoffensive enough for me never to really or I can tune it out pretty easily.
Yeah, I would say similar, especially for like speedrun attempts and stuff, because it's just like people are usually resetting a lot, so it's just very much. But then like if you hear like someone is on a good run and it's like, oh cool, I can like, I don't know. Yeah, so it was solid. Yeah, I mean, I also described that I had gone through a pretty bad breakup, or just a dramatic breakup, and so that's how I ended up like on Twitch, was like to avoid those feelings, or like avoid a lot of like the turmoil that was going on. And so yeah, dating someone was definitely not on my radar for this. That was my happy place to like escape things. And, yeah.
As a general rule, I would say like online or community spaces, like whether it's Twitch or at work or like on a classroom setting, like don't go to those with, at least my opinion, you shouldn't go to those with the intentions of finding romance, because a lot of people don't, and that is, I guess, like kind of more likely results in like kind of like awkward situations or people feeling uncomfortable. And you know, the purpose of those places, like purpose of Twitch, is like, for the most part, at least the ones we go to, is not about dating. It's about video games.
Yeah, it's just meant to be like cool hanging out, watching a game.
Yeah, when you go to work, the purpose of work is
Yeah.
to get work, to do something or to do whatever your job is. And coworkers, especially the women there, might not want people to
No,
be kind of trying to find romance at the same
no.
time, right? If it happens organically or,
Mm-hmm.
offhand, like that's fine, but this
Yeah.
my general approach is not to do that.
Yeah, because whenever you're like you get involved with a community, it feels very much like family sort of dynamics because these are people you tend to like see a lot.
Hmm.
Like, and so it's just meant to be like very, I don't know, like if like say two people start dating, then it's just like how did the dynamics sort of shift
Yeah.
around and stuff. And it's like, I mean, it's very much just like work colleagues in that sense of
Yeah.
like, ugh, like,
Not yeah,
yeah.
and not to say that like it's always a bad thing either,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we got lucky.
Yeah.
We know people that are having good
Yeah.
relationships from Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that um we never really went to Twitch with the purpose of romance or
Yeah. And
dating.
so it was like interesting because it's like, we tell people that we met online, but it wasn't on an app where we were intentionally trying to meet
It was on
each
video
other.
games.
It was just on video games, just a common hobby,
Yeah.
and it happened very organically, like much more like it felt very much. I mean, even more organically than say just like us running into each other at a bar or something. Like
Yeah.
it's very much just like we just kind of got to. I don't know. It's like very hard to describe from the outside.
Looking in kind
Yeah,
of thing. Yeah.
but I mean, we both still love Twitch and watching stuff. I mean, I still stream. You
Yeah.
stream for a little bit. And but that's not also not exclusively what we talk about.
My streams were too bad.
They were not. Anyway, yeah, because that and also like we decided to like give it a shot mostly because we actually geographically worked out for like where we were ending up.
Hmm.
Um like we were both going to be in the Midwest, and again like we had already like realized that we had a lot of similarities outside of just liking video
Hmm.
games, where like yeah, similar morals and values, politics, and age range, and like perspectives of life and such, and like also like we have pretty serious talks pretty early, I would say, from
Hmm.
like both wanted to get married, like both just looking for something like when we were serious about dating, like we wanted it to be, or like when we wanted to date, we were both like, no, we just want serious things. We don't want flings and stuff like that, which is also valid, but just not our like that was just something that we both like had a commonality, and we also yeah had already talked about kids. People have asked me that for some reason, like, do you know if he wants kids? I'm like, yeah, like that was we talked about that before we even like thought about dating and stuff.
Hmm.
Like it just was something that we kind of mentioned, like, oh yeah, no, it'd be cool to be a parent sometime.
Enviro kid.
Enviro child.
Enviro baby.
Yeah, Enviro baby.
Veggie kid. How about punch?
Don't punch the baby.
How about kid punch?
Oh my god. Yeah, so that's something that yeah, we generally
Nat punched kid.
yeah, that's our take is like, but we don't recommend following what we did. Mostly because yeah, it's just like I don't know if our template is
Well,
something that is like to be aspired towards necessarily. Like, I mean, organic stuff again is great, but like you can't force organic.
you can't find romance purely through Twitch. You have to have other streams of communications that are not, focused on purely video games.
Yeah.
And it also has to be a very mutual thing too.
Yeah, because that's like something too where like that was something that I really enjoyed about like whenever I first like started chatting was like realizing like, oh no, there's so many cool people. Like guys aren't just talking to me just a hope of dating. Like at
Mhm.
least in our little corner, like it was really nice where I was like, cool, I can make friends and like not worry about things. Um at least thankfully that was the case for me, but I know you were worried about that. You were worried about like being too like
Oh yeah, because
much
I,
of me.
I don't want to keep people out.
Yeah.
So yeah, you never answered the question earlier about what your first impression of me was.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
mine
I'm trying to
was
avoid this question.
no.
Ducking and dodging, dipping and diving and dodging.
Yeah. No, I just legit was like, oh, that's so cool that he's a runner in his PhD. And yeah, you were also chatty and stuff, and you were cool to like chit chat and stuff.
Wait, I think you did answer the question.
I did answer the question. His listening skills are 10 out of 10.
Huh. Okay.
So yeah, let's see here. Got this little bit up. A fun little thing I will ask. What was the coolest thing about dating slash being with me?
I got to understand the human limit on smelling.
God dang it, I thought you were going to give a serious answer for a second there.
I love to see your love of things that is not human.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how much you care about animals and like the well-being in general, society and stuff. I think it's very cool.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, I can get over the smells.
God, I do not smell. And what would you say is the least cool thing about me besides a smell? Is that it?
Your attempts to cover up the smells make it worse.
Okay.
You
Awesome.
can't just Febreze your armpits and think that it can make the smell go away. It just mixes with the Febreze.
I can't stand them sometimes.
The
Anyway.
least cool thing about dating Nat has to be that he steals all of my nice sweatshirts.
In my defense, you also were like, it would be cute if you wore this.
And she steals all my nice hats.
You also were like, oh, that's so cute you're wearing it.
She makes up this purposefully knowing lie in order to hide the fact that she's a thief.
Wow, it's like we live together or something, so it's not like,
her parents had to replace my wallet.
They gave him a wallet for Christmas. That's all.
Don't give them the context.
Okay, so for me, what I find to be the coolest thing about being with you is I loved having super deep conversations about almost anything, and how open-minded you were to like explore different topics that you may know nothing about, because you have an engineering background.
I also talk about different topics I also don't know anything about too.
Semi-competently. And but yeah, like I know I can, if I want to like ramble about something, you're like almost always down to like chat about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're super communicative, and even though like we do spend some time apart from one another, it doesn't honestly, like obviously we miss each other like
physically,
but it doesn't feel emotionally.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time together, and we're very open and talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we call 3 times a day, 4 times a day.
Yeah, who knows what average minute wise that is, but
I think most of the time our longest phone calls, like we VC for like most days.
Yeah, we video call via Discord where we will like watch a show together
until Gary passes out.
Yeah, which maybe lasts 30 minutes.
Or the last 2.5 hours. and then we may have a call randomly that lasts an hour. Yeah. But most of our calls are probably about like we'll call like 3 to 5 times a day for
usually when someone's driving somewhere.
10 minutes to 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it's actually a higher frequency than I think most of my friends who do long distance.
Yeah. No, seriously, we chit chat a good bit. And also the fact that like he kind of accepted my dog and cat like super quickly, despite the fact he never really had a pet before. Yeah, like
I was secretly a pet person without having a pet.
Yeah, it was really sweet seeing him interact with them and like how much they love him, especially the dog. He's back there in the background of the video side of things. The least cool thing about you.
I don't like you touching my cooking stuff.
Okay, so that's the least cool thing.
I don't know. What is the least cool thing? I poke you too much?
Kidding. Yeah,
she brings out her Dear John letter.
He interrupts me.
Huh?
Least cool thing. I had an idea and then I lost it.
Must not have been that substantial. Move on.
Sometimes you troll whenever I want to be serious. I guess. I don't know. It's funny though.
Can't hear you over the smell.
Okay. Joking about my smelling. I don't smell.
You'll never do a live podcast because I think the audience would immediately be like the ugly barnacle.
Yeah, you would get kicked out.
It was so ugly that everybody died.
All right, Gary the snail. Meow. Anyway, let's move on to the portion that I like to do every week, despite the fact this wasn't a typical like interview profile.
Yeah.
But so would you tell me something that is video game related or otherwise that has you pog champing, has you resident sleepering, or something that you are pause champing?
Yeah, so I am pog championing getting married. Cool. Getting married
Or
part
like,
two.
yeah, part two.
The real party.
Yeah.
That live tweet, like all the different
Yeah,
people
our
here.
friends coming together and stuff.
Yeah, like across the world.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. We have a lot of Twitch friends coming because obviously, like, the fact that we met on Twitch, we're like, oh, yeah, we invite, yeah.
I'm pog champion about that. Resident sleepering. I am resident sleepering. I hadn't thought about this one. I forgot to think about this earlier. Pause champion.
Okay.
I am pause champion potential new Switch this year. Video game related.
Switch 2.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I am pog champion replaying Super Mario Odyssey after watching you play.
Yeah. Yeah, I recently just finished a playthrough of it.
Those are the 2 video game ones.
Mm-hmm.
Resident sleepering. Sorry, I'm going in this terrible order. This is gonna be so confusing.
It's fine. I got the order wrong anyway. My own
Yeah. Resident sleepering video game wise. I really don't like how this year has been one of the most profitable years for video games, or at least 2023 was one of the most profitable years for video games of all time, with many major releases selling a ton, being very highly reviewed. At the same time, it's one of the worst years for labor.
Yeah.
In the video game industry.
Layoffs.
Yes, and most recent notable one was Microsoft had acquired Activision Blizzard, and they shed something like 1,400 developers after saying that they wouldn't do that. This is within months of fighting in the FCC, or fighting against the FCC in federal court in order to get this purchase through. And yeah, you immediately see the detriment it has on the people that work there. And I think part of this is that, I mean, like, there's a whole conversation about this we can have about how video games are very expensive to make now.
Yeah.
You hire 500 people for 2 years, it's going to cost, $10 million, or not $10 million. It's going to cost like $100 million just from how much you have to pay them. That number's right? I think so. And someone could check me on that. 200K times 5, you think about it, 200K including benefits and stuff, times 500 people, 2 years, racks up. At the same time, developers, or these tech companies, they don't live in a world of infinite money anymore, because interest rates came back to reality, and they needed to shed people because we have this terrible cycle in the US where profit matters more than well-being of the actual individuals. So that's my minor rant. Sorry. That's my resident sleepering, is the video game industry labor problems. Pause champion IRL.
You don't have to do both, but
okay, that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got.
I mean, we are moving, so that's.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sick. Actually,
as you see, there's nothing back here.
That was semi-resident sleepering, because tomorrow's gonna be like chaos.
It is. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we're recording on Valentine's Day, but I drop it on Thursday, so yeah, we'll be doing a little quick turnaround here.
Yeah.
All right. So then, what is your favorite emote that pops up in your brain at this moment?
I use Tal Chow.
Yeah, you do. Tal Chow. One of Talent's emotes that's very cute.
But I do like the blank one, the Enviro 4 blank.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That one's pretty funny.
What about non-streamer? Not say more global or 7TV emote? Really?
Yeah. Any of the cat ones are just so funny to me.
Like Catwa.
Catwa, dead. The one where the cat just falls over. Yeah, cute. The I fucking love
Yeah, Hunt's really fun.
I gotta thank Lara, because she's the one that introduces most of the cat emotes, and they're
on point.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. Well, it was really cool having you join me physically for this too. And yeah, I know most people in our community don't know the story. We literally just one time, I think whenever I was about to move, when you came down to help me, you just sat next to me, and it was just we just hopped into a call, and everyone was just
everyone's mind was blown.
They were just wait, why are y'all get there? And we're together.
It was in October for Kristen's wedding.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we kind of kept it on a down low for a little bit.
I think Nina knew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
dude.
like Nina, Leanne, like
Did
other.
Lara knew? I don't know if she
I
did.
don't know if she did.
I think she was in the call.
She wasn't a call
Yeah.
that found out, but yeah. And so, yeah, but we never really, we kept it kind of private, like how we met and stuff, like, or just like, I don't know, we just didn't want to make it a thing that was like something we were trying to milk or anything or
Yeah.
make content out of. I mean, I guess besides that, but, but it is a related thing. For Valentine's Day, it seemed fun
Yeah.
to just, like, we were together and it would be a cool thing to do for the first Valentine's Day of this podcast.
Yep.
Just to talk a little bit about that sort of romance, so. Yeah.
Yeah. You wanna hear one secret?
What?
I've been holding it apart this entire time. Plus, please.
Okay, what's in this? Bye! See you next week!